morning and welcome to Starting with Sheep. In today's video we're going to cover artificially feeding your lambs. Now you've got three options. You've got bottle feeding, tube feeding or machine feeding. Now bottle feeding, I'm going to show you in this video how to make up bottles and how to store them and how to feed the lambs. Also in this video I'm going to show you how to tube feed the lambs. That is a rubber tube being put down into the lamb's stomach and you putting the milk directly into its tummy. And the third option you've got is a ewe-to-lamb feeder by Volac. Now that is really for a farmer that maybe has a lot of surplus lambs. I don't often have tame lambs, so I don't warrant one. But they are really good and you can look on their website and it will tell you about that. It's a bucket that goes in the pen with tubes and, well, it goes outside the pen actually, with tubes to teats inside the pen, and the lambs just help themselves. It's like an artificial ewe. So you've got that option if you have a lot of lambs. So I'm going to start with showing you how to tube feed a lamb, and then later on in the video I'll show you how to make bottles up. So this morning I'm going to show you how to tube feed a lamb. This morning I had a ewe give birth to twin ewe lambs. She's okay, they're okay, but she hasn't got a lot of milk at this moment. I'm hoping that it will come in later. If not, I will give her a jab of oxytocin. But I'm going to make sure the lambs are warm, so I'm going to give them some colostrum. Now I use the Volac lamb colostrum, and it's really easy to mix, so I'm going to show you how to do that. I always measure my colostrum warm water out in one of my feed bottles because I know it's good and accurate and I've checked it before. So I'm making up a double quantity, so I'm going to want 100 mils of warm water. So you don't want it hot, you just want it warm. So I'm just putting me water in there. So there you can see I've got 100 mils of water, and I pop that into a jug, and there's really good clear instructions on the pack in here, and I want 2 scoops because I'm only using it as a supplement because she will feed them. So I put 2 of the scoops into the water. You must make sure it's level scoops. It's level. So 2 level scoops into the jug, and you just mix it. I whisk it with a fork really vigorously. Just as a thing, if you make this beforehand, you can't microwave it. You must reheat it by standing it in a bottle of warm water. So I'm going to mix this vigorously, and I'll see you in a minute over the barn when I show you how to tube them. Now whenever I'm tube feeding a lamb, I always bring a bowl of warm water, and I soak the tube in it. It makes sure it's nice and clean, and it also makes it a bit more pliable and allows you to put it into the lamb with a lot of ease. And also you've got your syringe there that you'll suck up the milk with and put down the tube. So I've got my little lamb. As I say, these 2 are twins. They were born about 2 hours ago. She hasn't got a lot of milk there at the moment, so I'm just giving her a tube just as a supplement to warm her up, to make sure that she stays nice and warm up until she gets her own milk. So I put the lamb over my lap and I feed the tube in one side of her mouth. They wriggle a bit, but don't worry. Just feed it down with a little bit of pressure, but say don't push too hard because you could be screwing up inside. So you just want to feel that that's going down, and if it was going into the lungs it wouldn't go in far enough. So that's gone right down until you get to here. Come here, come here, come here, come here. So you get to there and you've got that bit left sticking out. You then get your syringe, and I've got my milk, and you draw up 60 mils. So just drawing up the 60 mils. So I've got the milk there in the syringe. Just make sure the tube's back in place. And with the, you just pop it on the end of the tube like so. And with a bit of pressure, but not too much pressure, just squeeze the tube, and I can feel it on my leg going into his tummy. Like so. There you go. And that's given him 60 mils of milk, and then just pull it out slowly. He wants to go back to mum. All the way slowly, and pop it back in, straight back into the water. That way it'll clean it. So that was tube feeding. The reason I tube fed those lambs is because the mum had quite a difficult birth. She didn't have a lot of milk at the time, so I just wanted to safeguard that they were warm, and she went on to feed them well herself. I don't want a lamb that's with her mum getting used to the bottle, so that's why I tend to tube feed them at the beginning. I'm now going to go on and show you how to bottle feed. Now it's really important when you mix in milk that you make sure the powder is right to the water. Now I'm wanting to make up 1 litre 500 mils, between 3 of them per feed. So I've got a pair of kitchen scales and a jug. You add the water to the powder, so I measure the powder into a jug. I just keep them out here, and that way I know it's accurate. So I want 250 grams of milk powder, so I'm going to measure that out. There you go, I've got 250 grams of milk powder there. Like I say, I use lamb lac. I find it mixes nice. I also use the Volvic colostrum when I need it. So, but that's the lamb lac powder, and it comes in 5 kilos, 10 kilos or 20 kilos. And also it keeps very well. I think the sell by date on this one is, if I can find it, is the 3rd of April next year. It's also got a plastic liner, so what you don't use you can actually seal right back up and it will keep. So that's the one I use. Right, I'm going to mix this up now. Now it's really important to remember that you always make the water up. You don't put the water in and then add the powder. You add the water to the powder and make it up to the quantity you want. So I'm going to run some water. Now it's important that it's not too hot, and it's I make it up just body temperature. So it's literally, you feel no different temperature when you dip your finger in it, and it'll be nice for them. You can also feed this cold. As they get older, people do tend to feed it cold. I just like to make it a little bit off cold for them. So you mix up your water. What I do is I add a bit of water first, and I mix it into a paste. I find that way it mixes nice. So I just mix it with a fork. You don't need anything like an electric whisk or anything, just a good fork. Make sure you get round the sides to get all the powder. Just give it a good whisk. And it will go to like a paste. On my jug as well, always check your jugs, because some of the jugs that you buy, the cheap jugs that you buy from discount stores and things, aren't that accurate. So what I've done is I've measured out from my feed bottles the amount I want, and it's actually different to what's on the jug. So I've actually put a black line there so I know where I'm measuring up to. So just now add the rest of the water. Carry on whisking. Like so. Smells lovely too. So there you go, I've got it mixed up to my line. If you want to make your bottles up in one day and you've got enough feed bottles, that's fine, and you can put it into the bottles and put it in the fridge so it's all ready for warming when you're ready for it. Mine are now on 3 feeds a day, so I tend to just come out and make it up as I need it. So obviously the next thing you'll need is your feed bottles. I use these ones, they're from Nettex. They're non-vac bottles. I find they're really good with the lambs, and also they can come with a teat. When your teats come, they come with a very long teat on them. All you do is you just snip the top off with a pair of scissors, but you mustn't snip it off too much. I tend to leave mine like that because you need to make your lambs suck to get the milk out. If you snip them off too low, then it comes out too quick and it can give them an upset tummy. So you've got your teat that goes on the bottle, and you've got the screw lid. You thread the teat through like so, and that goes on the top of the bottle. So I've got my milk here. Now my little ones now are on 400 mils 3 times a day. So just pour the milk into the bottle like so. It's important as well when you're bottle feeding not to try and cut the feeds down too quickly, because obviously if you cut the feeds down, you have to up the milk, and sometimes cutting them down too quickly can give the lambs upset tummies. So mine are 4 weeks old and they're on 3 times a day, and hopefully next week they'll go to 2. They've actually got access to baby lamb feed and hay in their stable as well. Now if you've just got the 1 lamb to feed, or 2, obviously you've got 2 hands. The problem I have if I had 3 is they all want to feed at the same time. So what I've brought is this. Nettex do this. It's absolutely fabulous. It's a 4 bottle rack. You can pop the bottles in, which I'll show you in a minute. And what you do is you just pop it over a hurdle or a fence, and 3 lambs can feed at one time. Obviously you do have to watch to make sure a greedy one doesn't try to steal the other one's milk, but as a whole it's brilliant. Mine all feed roughly at the same speed, so they all keep their own bottle. So as I say, this is available at agricultural stores. You can buy them. I think you can buy them with the bottles in them, but as I say, I find this absolute godsend at the moment. So all it is a rack. It's got a holder at the front like so, and what you do is you pop the bottles into the holder like so. Just push it in like that and put the guard across. So you've now got ready to go and feed your lambs. So there you go, 3 happy little lambs all having their breakfast at the same time. Now if you're feeding by hand, it's roughly the same principle. As you can see, the way they're feeding is the bottle is in line with their nose. So you don't want to tip the bottles too far up because it bends the teat. Just keep it in line with the line of their head. After the last feed at night, I give them all a good wash up with hot water and a bit of fairy liquid. Rinse them well, and then I pop them in deep cold water and add a Milton sterilising tablet. That way I know they're clean and sterilised once a day. So that's bottle feeding and tube feeding. The important thing is make sure all your equipment is clean at all times. Make sure you sterilise it all. You want to be reducing the risk of infection. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and until next time, happy sheep keeping.